So I want to talk today about the app and what it is and how it's different than the Moms of Master Books group and how the two are going to go together. And then we're just going to do rapid fire Q&A because there were some other questions as well. So the Moms of Master Books group really started as a way to provide customer support, to connect authors and staff with the people who are using Master Books. And at the time, because I was using Facebook to create an audience. So if you remember, I was doing, we did videos with influencers. I did a lot of ads with customer testimonials. So like Math Lessons for a Living Education was in everybody's Facebook feed for a year. So our audience was really on Facebook and worked great. So when we started the group, it was just natural that the people who had found out about us also had Facebook. Anna says Maddie's half penguin.
It's true.
Polar bear. So that it just worked perfect. And the limitation of Facebook is it's an open market, even though we bring people in by having to accept them and all of that. It's really a little bit different of a community because we have people that are sometimes there are people who have competitive interests, sometimes people who just don't like us. Believe it or not, there are trolls that surf the web looking for Master Books, Answers in Genesis. I know some of them by name. Some of them have been blocked permanently. And so we just deal with some of that because the stances we take on biblical authority. So we set some pretty strict rules for Moms of Master Books of how we can make sure that customers get served, that Master Books is the main focus, those things. And I know sometimes there's misunderstandings in that, but we really do try to make sure that we address that. So now the group is 18,000 people, and we spend literally in my Facebook, my feed, if you knew the amount of hours Kristen, Jessica, the moderators spend going through the group, trying to answer questions and all of that. But in the process, some of you have actually become household names, your friends, this group of people that use Master Books, this tribe of like-minded people. It's a community. And we appreciate that. Well, the Master Books app for us is a way to to expand what we do with the Moms of Master Books and provide more community. And we've got to work through some of the logistics on it because we still don't want people in there confusing issues, promoting other curriculums. And it's not because we're not afraid of competition means nothing. We know who we are, why we fit in the market and all of that. So I'm not worried about that. But what I don't want is when a new person comes in and suddenly somebody's saying, you should use Sing, Spell, Read, and Write, then all of a sudden customer service gets a ticket and Aubrey gets a phone call. Well, I want to buy Sing, Spell, Read, and Write from you guys. And they're confused because, that's not part of the Master Books products. And so what we're trying to do with the app is open up the possibility where families can connect a little bit more around interests that are for them. So we can set up groups for high school, for elementary, for lower learning, for special needs. I would love to even have a Master Books Connect group where like-minded families who wanted to connect from certain regions or certain states would be able to connect with each other, where it's hard in the Facebook group because you have one feed and that feed can get overwhelmed with something like my kid wants a pen pal. But in the Master Books app, we can actually set it up where there's a group to connect. And so if you want a pen pal, you'd be able to say, my kid's looking for pen pals. Can anybody interested? We have just more flexibility in there because the main feed, we can protect the main feed, but then have niche groups. So that's really the heart behind the app, is to build this community a little bit more. We're privileged, right? We have this awesome curriculum and families, we know that it's making a difference in a lot of families' lives. And so that's awesome. But then beyond that, the heart that we have is to build up this community of people and to see homeschoolers succeed at a much higher level than just curriculum. And so we're able to invest ourselves a little bit more in the homeschool community at large as Master Books. So your foot's against the desk and you're shaking the desk. So I look like I have twitches. So let's talk a little bit about the app, okay? So if you don't have the app, there was a link in the other video. We'll post a link here in the comments. It's on the Apple Store. You can get the Apple apps. If you just type in Master Books, it'll come right up. And it's in the Google Play Store. Is that what it is? Google Apps. But it may not have indexed as much, so we may need to put the links up as well for that, and you can click to it. The settings needs to be 17 and up, and the reason is the app provider that we work with, because there's outside links, because you can link to masterbooks.com, that it has to be rated higher, because we could change that link and it could take somebody to any place. And even though we're not going to, that's the way Apple and Google see it. So you got to make sure that if you want to see the app, you've got to have apps that can be 17 and up. And then once you have the app, you create your own password and login. It's not linked into the store or the e-commerce site. It's a completely separate platform. But what it does is it hosts the store. So when you actually go into the app and you click on the store component, you're looking at the store through a browser. You're not actually like, the app isn't interfaced into the e-commerce site. I think there's some confusion with that sometimes. Okay, so if you downloaded the app, one of the things I know people have said is, like, let's see, here's my app, and there's this little red icon. And some people have said, this notification, this little red circle, is driving me crazy. And I've had to take the app off because I can't sleep at night because there's a dot.
It's a thing, I promise.
Okay.
I almost did the other week because I'm like, it won't go away. I can't have red dots.
And it bothered you that badly?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things, like when you come in the app, what's awesome is it lets people know when we're doing a live stream, those things. Something that you can do when you come into an app and you see it, see where the red dot is for friends and messaging? What?
Go ahead.
Okay, where the dot is for friends and messaging, right here. If you click on that, it comes up with friends, and then any of the requests, there's a request on mine. And so somebody did a friend request, it's Angela Odell, and if I accept that or decline it, then that red dot goes away. So that's one place that this red dot can come up. It's a notification. The other is when you look at this in this menu, and I think they actually might change it, but it's pretty easy. These three little bars, when you click it, and it comes up, that little bell right there tells you a list of some notifications. People, Anna, Desiree commented on a post, Jackie commented on a post, Jackie liked a post. So the notifications are from that little bell right there. And one thing I'll say about friend requests, if I can, is I'm not accepting friend requests, except I have an administrative team that works on the app. And so I have them as friend requests in case I need to know something. But in order to be respectful to my wife, Kristen, and to make sure that I have everything in place to protect me, it's just best that I don't have a place where 18,000 people can connect to me privately. So Kristen and I share a Facebook page, and in the app, because of the way it's set up and individual to the phones and stuff like that, I'm just keeping it very, just very strict that I'm not accepting any friend requests and keeping it that way. So just as a point, because I know I've gotten some friend requests, and I don't want you to feel like I'm being nasty. I'm not. It's not personal. Okay. So when you come into the app itself, you come into the main page, which is called Community. And the Community, gives the opportunity to post like you normally would with Facebook. Now, our app provider is actually working on some things like being able to edit posts, because right now you have to delete a post if you want to make a change, or add it to a comment. So we're working on edit a post. I think they're adding some other features to it, and so that'll all be coming in as well. So that's good. It does have I'm not really Instagram person, but it has more of an Instagram look and feel to it, where it lends itself well to an image and a comments. You agree? She's more an Instagrammy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's like Instagram and Facebook combined, because you can do your image posts, but then you can also have just like regular content posts.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds.
It does have search. It only searches for hashtags right now. They're adding actually text search into the app, but it's set up so that it doesn't give you like weeks and weeks and weeks of archived. It's like 3 or 4 days worth of content, which honestly I like, because you don't feel the stress. 3 days ago, if we haven't talked about it in 3 days and that type of thing, then it kind of keeps everything fresh and current versus something that we discussed maybe last year. So that's there. Now, if you hit the 3 bars at the top, or you swipe to the side, it gives you the community. Now, in the community, there's groups, and like we have, there's an official group. That's posts that are just relevant to Master Books. We have community, and then we have Chapel. And Chapel is one of those that we just set up. It's a new group, and it offers a place to put prayer requests and praise reports up. You don't have to be part of it.
I was trying to go through the comments.
That's okay. But I know for families, like in the Moms of Master Books, it's so hard, because we know the power of prayer, and we know what God has done in our lives through this tribe praying for us. And so we want to give intercessors the opportunity to be able to lift up other families, and we want families to be lifted up as well. The app gives us that, but it doesn't take away from the main community feed that we have. It's a very targeted group. So come into the chapel, post a prayer request, come into the chapel and post a praise report, right? Because there's power in testimony. When we hear what God has done in the lives of other people and how he's answered prayer, my faith is increased so that I can be much more expectant that God is going to answer the prayers that are being prayed for me, and there's hope in that. So different things that it gives you different groups. Now, what'll happen is, as a new group gets made available, that'll come up so that you can click on it. It'll say, here's a list of all the groups. If you'd like to join the groups, then there's additional groups that you can join. So when we have like Master Books, a Connect group where people can connect with each other, who's in Arkansas that homeschools using Master Books, that's the place to go do it. And so that'll be coming soon. Is that about to fall down?
Quick question though. Sandra said, I was trying to message someone on the app and I couldn't figure out how unless I added her as a friend. Is there a way to message someone without adding them as a friend?
No, I think you have to be friends on the app to be able to message each other. It's not going to make it as easy as Facebook. You actually have to have a connection to be able to communicate through it. Okay. We have the live stream, the videos that are right now, like my live stream. If I clicked on that, it would bring me up. The digital goodies, right now we have some placement tests. This will be more populated, but because of the way this is set up, there won't be as many. There'll be things that we touch a lot and deal with. Let me go back to the chapel, if I can. Something that we're going to do, we have a book that we published by Charles Spurgeon. It's a republished book. It's called Mornings and Evenings, and it's a devotional. Throughout the whole year, Charles Spurgeon did a devotional for the morning and a devotion for the evening. In the chapel, we're actually doing a devotion. And so if you want to participate in this devotion, Brittany is actually working with Jennifer White to do a devotional so that every day there will be a shareable image. We're going to provide the book for free, so you'll be able to go into digital goodies and download that devotional digital copy for free. We'll also give you a coupon if you'd rather buy the physical book and use the physical book, you can. So starting January 1st, in the chapel will be a devotional mornings and evenings, and that we can kind of participate in if you're interested in. So that'll be coming as well. Friends and messaging events. Now, right now, there's just a couple of events. We have the Nashville Teach Them Diligently, the Rogers Teach Them Diligently. We've solidified our convention schedule for 2020. It's not as many shows this year. It's about 15 shows. So that schedule will be here. Any special events that we have, we're going to be able to have that. The store. Okay, so the store is the Master Books site. Now, the limitations of the app is it's limited by your device. So if you're using Google Android, the back device, or like on Apple, you can use the back. It's real faint, but there's a little shadow here. The forward and back keys are in the bottom on Apple. On Google, the back key, I believe, takes you to the last place you were, so it'll take you out of the store. So unfortunately, backward navigation that some of us are used to is difficult. You have to just keep forward navigation. Anytime, click masterbooks.com, the checkout. Top 3 bars in the app belong to the app. Top 3 bars in here belong to the store. And so this is where you can log into your cart. You can do what you need to do. I know during the sale, people who are trying to check out using PayPal had some issues. That's not related to the app. PayPal is having some issues, but in the next couple of weeks, in the beginning of January, we're actually switching processors, and some of that should actually be fixed. All around. PayPal just has had some glitches. It's been difficult in giving us some issues. So hopefully that'll be taken care of. Okay, so again, I can just swipe back over into there. We have the contacts. So if you need to contact us, of course, it takes you right to the contact form of the Master Books website. And that's it. So overall, I'm looking forward to it. But what I would say is, if you've been part of the Moms of Master Books tribe and you've said, boy, I wish they could talk about high school more. Well, when we set up a high school group, if you have a high schooler, please join that group and start talking, right? Because the group is only going to be as successful as the people who are in it. And it's community driven. So with the app, if you want a strong community, you have to be part of that community. And I know for some of us, like I belong to some Facebook groups that I just like stalking it. I just like knowing what they're saying, but I never participate in the conversation. So I have a really good feel for what's going on, but I don't get involved. With the app, it's going to be one of those where we want everybody to be part of that community and to be an encouragement and a support. If you connect with Master Books and you get us. Not everybody does, and that's good too, because there's a lot of companies that meet a lot of different styles and needs and all of that. So, and I'm also looking forward to having some specific groups. Like once Kristen gets through the rest of the treatments, being able to have her host a language lessons for living education group where conversations specific to that are in that group, or to have like Angela, if she'd be willing to kind of oversee a math lessons for living educations group where people who have questions or just want to talk about the math lessons can go to that group. And the cool thing is you don't have to join all the groups. You can just join the group specific to you. And then you can also remove yourself from them if you're not interested in that group. So and if you're part of the groups, they show up in the community feed and it'll tell you what group you're in. So just some really cool things that the app is going to give us over the next year to grow this community and not compromise what we have. Moms of Master Books is perfect for what it does and in supporting customers and providing that kind of support. And I think the app will be excellent for building and strengthening the community, the tribe that has grown around the product.
Awesome.
So that's that.
Questions?
Let's go.
Some from the live stream in the app was, how soon do the live streams get archived in the app?
Okay, so the live streams get archived usually that day or the next day. It's not like Facebook. I have to manually go in and upload the video at this point. So usually it's within 24 to 48 hours.
Awesome. Can we comment on comments?
Nope. Nested conversations, as they're called, isn't available yet, but I know that that's something that they have on the radar. It's on the radar, but it's not available yet.
Are y'all coming to Texas at all?
Let me change something. What you do is, if you do, like if I make a comment and you want to talk to me, do @Randy Pratt, and it will notify me. It'll come up in my notification that somebody in the app messaged me. So use the @ and their name to communicate with them. Are we going to Texas? I don't believe this year. We have a convention in Texas that we're going to.
Julie said, I couldn't find some archived announcements for teaching tips on the app. Or teaching tips on the app.
An archive, if it's past teaching tips, in the video section, it actually allows us to link. Okay, so if I go, let's see, community, and then I go to the videos, these are actually links into the Google, into our YouTube playlist. So you can do, like, there's math, language, history, science, teaching tips is right here, and then it'll bring you into all of the videos we have for teaching tips in the playlist that we have assembled. So, and all of these videos that we do get archived into our YouTube channel.
Is the physical version of the devotional we're going to be doing, is that available through Master Books right now?
It is. It's mornings and evenings. If you type mornings and evenings, that'll give you a link to that. So this week we'll have a coupon for that.
When will we be able to know more about Answers Curriculum 3 and 4 released and Passport USA?
Those are slated for a summer release. So that's okay. So let me just give you a behind the scenes. Okay, I can't. Let me just tell you behind the scenes. We're excited about the new products that we've got. We're in the process. I'm about to do an announcement on some products that we just brought into the portfolio that I can't even tell you how excited I am. Then we've got other products like, the Adventures in Creation, or the Let's Talk Science series. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a bunch of what's coming out this year. Last year, I was so excited that I got everybody else excited about it long before the products were ready. And everybody here has, like, if I walk through the halls, it's kind of like the gauntlet where people are, like, not happy because there's a lot of pressure to get products out that weren't ready because I got everybody excited. This year, we're having to take a breath and say, there are some cool products coming out this year, and as soon as I can tell you, believe me, I will. Or as soon as I can give you better information or previews, believe me, I will. And I'll try to steal them from people's desks as much as I can. But I have to be a little bit more careful. Like, we can't do pre-orders 6 to 8 months in advance this year because it just ended up causing more issues than good. And, we love to do it, but then when we lose customers and goodwill because we were trying to do something good, that's a sad day too. So we just have to be a little bit more controlled in our product release to make sure that we set realistic expectations. So some of the products that I showed you, they are being released, but most likely the products like the U.S. geography won't be available until like the July catalog. They'll be available before next school year, but they're not going to be available this spring, and they won't be at the conventions.
Yeah.
That was a long answer.
Good job. Lee Bay said, cool hair, Randy. Kristen Pratt. Thank you. I style it.
Brittany is my stylist.
I cut and style.
I told her last night, I said, if this looks bad, I'm going to blame you. If it looks good, I'm going to blame you. So
the pressure's on. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Trying to figure out how to be 50. It's just not easy. So
making it work. Any tips on using America's Story with younger siblings, first in K, listening or tagging along?
Yeah, I think just letting them observe and having general discussion, they're going to pick up. It's amazing how much kids learn. If there's some coloring sheets or some supplements, things that they can do, you could have them draw. You could just do some basics like that. But at those grades, it's more just coming into contact with life. They don't have to memorize to pass the CAT test or memorize to pass the SATs or ACTs in first, second, or third grade. It's just an awareness, right? And so when they're young, you create this awareness. You're expanding their world. You're giving them skills. You're developing a joy for discovery. Then you narrow it down and refine the skills the older they get. A lot of times as new homeschoolers, we come in and we think we need them to memorize everything. We need to, it's funny, language lessons is one of those where, it can, sometimes the pressure is too much, too soon, too fast. It's all said the same thing, but too much, too soon, too fast. Couldn't help myself.
Couldn't help yourself. Okay, that's what we'll go with.
So sometimes that pressure is that you have to do that, and I think we can give ourselves a little bit more freedom. So with the older kids, if the older kids are learning and you're reading together and then just talking about it a little bit, you'll be amazed. They'll start retaining things and picking it up. So
Tina asks, is it possible to make it, this is in the app, is it possible to make it so that when you write in the comments, it automatically capitalize when you start a new sentence? I guess I'm used to my phone and other apps just automatically doing that. Obviously not a big deal. I just thought I'd ask.
I don't know how the app, usually that's a setting of the phone. So I haven't checked it out. But yeah, it's not something that I believe we can change in the app.
What will the high school group look like? Should my teens download the app too? If one of my students are not good with writing paragraphs, would you recommend level 6 or writing strands? Sorry, there was a couple in there.
Okay, so the high school support group would be more for parents with high school students. Now, that doesn't mean that we may not open up a place that Master Books students could connect, but that gets real complicated real quick. So right now that group, when the first launch of that group will be for parents.
Okay. If one of my students are not good writing paragraphs, would you recommend language level 6 or writing strands? One's kind of tough because writing strands works you through slowly building on paragraphs, and it just depends, I guess, on how old they are. Yeah,
I mean, I would look at the placement tests, the assessment for language lessons, because level 6 I may even say look at language 5. If they're not good at writing paragraphs, I think the paragraph building is more in 5. Some of you that are in it would probably know. If Kristen was here, she'd know too. But language lessons is going to be a little bit more comprehensive. Writing strands is going to be a little bit more broad, but work heavily on, it's very focused. So it's definitely going to be very focused on writing, not just the grammar side, where language lessons is going to be teaching the writing, but also the grammar. Yeah. So I guess it kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're just looking to, let's get them to speed with writing and let's just cover the basics, I would probably say, the writing strands is going to be adequate. But I know a lot of people have gone back in language lessons, done that. And some have even combined the two and said that worked well too in a post recently.
Shayla asked, I live in Panama City in Central America, and I love watching Master Books and all the reviews. I just made my first order last Monday and I can't wait to get them. Are there any plans in the future to make books in Spanish?
Not right at the moment. We do have some Spanish titles from Ken Ham. I think the Lie might be in Spanish. The Answer books are in Spanish. There's a handful of Spanish books, but it's a big undertaking. And we have enough gaps in English to do. So, I would say it's not on the calendar right now.
Beth, she said, wondering where to go after Foundation Phonics. What is the difference between the new Language Lessons 1 and the current program for first grade?
Okay. Basic language skills is the second half of the year for Foundation Phonics. So Foundation Phonics, basic language skills, that completes your first grade year. Mm-hmm. Basic language skills is a few years old, and it has just been updated into format of the language lessons for living education. So now that is the bridge of you will do Foundation Phonics, language lessons for living education 1 for first grade. That's the recommended scope and sequence. It's the content of basic language skills. It still uses the same 3 books. It's got a lot of the content, but it's enhanced, and it has some of the things that you're going to find in language lessons. So it's not just one-dimensional. It kind of has that multi-dimensional learning aspect of the language lessons for living education. Depending on where your student is, if your student is finishing Foundation Phonics, then I would purchase basic language skills to keep them moving forward. If you're preparing for that to be available maybe in 2 months, my guess is language lessons for living education 1 will be available within 2 to 3 months. Mm-hmm. So it's in-house, the manuscript is, it's being cleaned and about to go to design, but it's not available today.
Awesome. Can you go over morning baskets or a place to really understand what it is and how to implement it during the day? I've seen folks use random books for theirs, but I've also seen the book collections on the website. Do they include a teacher manual?
Okay, morning baskets are more just devotional fun stuff. Have the kids grab a book. In the Moms of Master Books Facebook group, there is a schedule for, I know, at least one of our best-selling morning basket packages that you could follow. It's designed to use as creatively as you want. If you want to read, do a morning read where we read a chapter in the morning or we read a couple pages, talk about it, pray, and move on the day. That's really what it's designed for. It's not meant to be a hard, fast, it's more just a concept of we have these awesome resources. It's sitting on a basket. We want to do a little bit of time together as a family. Go grab a book. Let's read it. Let's talk about it. The books are all designed like the Marvels of Creation book, where it's got mammals, birds, sea creatures. It's designed very much to be able to let's read about one animal, God's creation, how he formed them miraculously. Then let's just talk about it. Okay, great talk. Let's go on with the day. That's really what it's designed for, not to be, not to put you in bondage to something more.
Carrie Bear asked, are you still forming a mom review group? I was in the Facebook Live comments.
We are working on the group. Now that group isn't really a mom review group as much as it is an editorial review board group. So it's going to be looking at there will be a group that, as we kind of go through it, that will have, once it goes through the whole process, they'll be able to look at it and say, this didn't really make sense, or we really like this about the book. Here's missing a comma, or the word is spelled wrong here. Just stuff that maybe it's a last pass review. So it's not so much a focus group of what do you think. It's going to be more of a, we're looking for a little bit of experience in curriculum development or usability with that group. So the answer is yes, but we're not completely there yet.
We're homeschooling in Italy. Is Amazon your only reseller in Europe, or are there other options?
Yeah, Amazon is probably your best choice in Europe. I know that there are some providers, but not in Europe or the UK. So.
Do you have a preview of language lessons for living education 6 or 1?
Nope. 6 should be soon. That's in the last final changes and should be going to the printer. And when it goes to the printer, we will be putting it up online in the digital format. And as soon as that happens, the preview will go up as well. And then I will somehow, if I have to snag Kristen, we'll get her to walk through that with us.
Are there any more plans for middle school language besides writing strands at this time?
With middle school, I'm assuming junior high and above. Right now, we're going to complete the language lessons for living education 1st through 6th grade. And we're going to get Kristen back to health and recovered from this little cancer journey. And then we'll see what she's up to. So right now, it's not on the schedule. there's enough other really important things, right? Like handwriting and penmanship course and some different things that she has a heart for and the writing strands we're kind of improving that all the time. And so some of the last rounds of improvements, I think, are really making that phenomenal. So there's probably other priorities, I think, that she's going to be more excited to address before she goes back to that.
Any plans for a cursive curriculum?
We're a lot's going on, but there's proposals, and I know that's certainly on Kristen's radar as something that's needed to complement language lessons and all of that. And so, yeah.
Regarding the app, am I the only person unable to utilize downloadable links from the store tab? Also,
do you have your browser open? So like I have my browsers disabled on my phone. So when I click on it, I can't. Now, some people have said they were able to copy and paste it, but it's a PDF. So if your phone can't open a PDF, if you don't have a tool or a way to do that, it's not going to be able to open that window, right? It's a sample isn't part of the website. It's an external file that opens a digital PDF. And so you have to have that capability. I can't open it on mine because I just choose not to have a browser on my phones. I spend enough time in front of a computer. So I can look at the app and I can see it in the app, but I can't open the PDFs. I hope that made sense.
She asked too, she said also during the Merry Christmas sale, I couldn't use PayPal to check out. I'm wondering if maybe it's my phone settings maybe?
No, PayPal is just having a glitch. It's an older system that PayPal uses to do checkout, and the new system actually should solve some of those issues. For how much work IT is putting into it, I sure hope so.
Jackie said, any foreign language curriculum on the horizon? And then she also said, love the idea for teen group here. Can you tell me how it will be set up? So I think you answered that teen question earlier.
Teen's coming. Spanish, anybody want to write a Spanish curriculum? I'd love a proposal, but here's what I want you to do if you make a proposal to Master Books for Spanish curriculum. Don't copy anything that's ever been written. Write it from a living Spanish course, right? Family goes to a missions trip to a Spanish-speaking country, and they get off the plane and they need to know, where is the taxi? Where's the food? Where do we sleep tonight? Stuff like that, so that it's a very practical foreign language course. I think that would be awesome, especially, can my student actually present the gospel in Spanish at the end of the course? Wouldn't that be an awesome final exam, that you're able to actually lead somebody to the cross and accept Jesus and bring them out through the grave into new life? I think that would be awesome. So all of you who speak Spanish, I have just planted a seed, an amazing seed for you to put together a proposal for a Spanish curriculum that would actually be practical. I have one son who took like Spanish 4 years. The only thing he can do is ask me, where's the baño or whatever. Yeah, that's like that was his big deal. So, okay.
Do the catalogs automatically get mailed out, or do you have to go online to print them? That was in the live stream in the app.
The catalogs are online. Some of you found the catalog on the New Leaf Publishing Group side. We don't mail those. Those go to wholesale accounts, resellers. You're welcome to look at them. I mean, that gives you what's coming out, next year, all of that. That's at the nlpg.com website. Down at the bottom is catalogs. You can find out what our spring releases are, but we don't mail those catalogs out. The homeschool catalog, if you're a customer of ours and you're on our mailing list, I guarantee you're going to have a catalog. If you buy from us, you're going to have 2 catalogs plus a catalog. If you place a flash sale order, by the time the season's done, we hope you're going to have like 5 catalogs, and we hope that you give those 5 catalogs, that you keep 1, and then you give 4 to your friends.
We did Foundation Phonics, then Basic Language Skills this year, and for next year, I bought Language Lessons 1. Is that going to be too easy? I thought that was to follow Basic Language Skills. So basically, does Language Lessons for Living Education 1 follow Basic Language Skills?
No, Language Lessons replaces Basic Language Skills. So if you did Basic Language Skills this year, Foundation Phonics, Basic Language Skills, then you would just move into Language Lessons 2.
Will you be allowing any pre-orders or only when the product is ready in-house to ship be available for purchase?
When the product is available for purchase.
Can you add a Chromecast option to the app, please?
Unfortunately, that's out of our realm, and because of the amount of people that would use that, I don't know that we can convince the app provider, but it's certainly something we could check on.
Any plans for expanding high school curriculum?
Yeah, we've got a Master Books, the Master Class Physics course is coming out this year. We have an Algebra 2 being written by Kate Loop that my son is actually doing this year. As she's writing it, he's doing it, and that's kind of fun to watch. And I think that's going to be a phenomenal Algebra 2 course, very biblical authority-based, all of that. We just updated the World History has color, and they're going through, and they added actually the Henry Morris, So Noted book for a worldview with that. So that book is about to get a facelift that I think is going to be incredible. So there's 3 really exciting projects for high school coming.
That's all we got.
That's it.
Yep, that's in the Facebook apps or the Facebook live stream comments, the app comments, and the ones from your post the other night.
Okay. And there was one more.
Hit them all.
Writing Strands Advanced with the Pilgrim's Progress study. Be good to go with the whole Pilgrim set. You could do the Pilgrim's Progress all-in-one curriculum that we resell, but the book is developed more as a standalone literature. So I mean, you could do it, but I think at that level, my personal preference would be let them read Pilgrim's Progress as a standalone literature and don't overcomplicate it, because Pilgrim's Progress there's a weightiness in that book. And I mean, you could do it, but I would recommend just because that's an older student, right? And that's classic literature, and just, man, there's so much in Pilgrim's Progress that if a student grasps that, you're all the time kind of reflecting back to it. So
Awesome.
Cool. All right, well, we've got work to do in the warehouse, so we're not going to take up any more of your time. Brittany may not be eager to go back to the warehouse, but we'll updated high school world history. We're working on the world history right now. Our hope is that will be available. That should be available in the spring. American history was redone, but the color side, that'll be next, so that'll probably be in the summer.
And Tabitha says, so many people rave over Tyner's products. Can you explain why and what age they're for?
Tyner was what was available for creation-based science, Christian Science. It was like the only thing that was available. You know, you had Apologia or Tyner were the 2 that were available at the time. And we've had those products for quite a while. So they grew in popularity because they weren't overwhelming and they were just a good solution, right? It was kind of like really complicated or kind of basic. Those books, I think they need some updating. Now that we've been developing curriculum and we know some things, those are one of those projects that down the road will probably get a facelift as well. And I think they're just good. There's a lot of fun information in a Tyner book, and they're, you know, like the exploring mathematics, exploring chemistry, great overviews. So yeah, I think they're great complementary books. I don't know standalone wise. I guess if it's up to preference.
Awesome.
Okay, good.